Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back to the Faithful Path, where every Saturday I break down the connection between our daily lives and the beautiful religion of Islam, how they both have an impact on each other, and discuss the issues we all have practicing our religion nowadays. So, without further ado, the podcast starts now.
سبيل الدموع سبيل مريح.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Today, I want to dive into something that every single human being will face in his life: trials and tribulations. Whether it's a moment of success, of struggle, or the challenge of waiting patiently for something we deeply desire, God will always be testing us in life. Each of these trials push us in different ways, and how we respond to them does not only shape our outcomes but also who we become. That's why the topic of today is really important in order to have personal growth and hope in life. So, the first test in life is being tested with something good. Being tested with something good is just a question of having gratitude or arrogance. Every time something good happens to you, are you grateful that it happened to you, or are you arrogant? Are you showing off to people that you won this or that you did this? Or are you being grateful to God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this happened to you? You can talk about it with your friends, your family, your coworkers, your husband, your wife, but if you're being arrogant about it, if you're showing off to everyone around you that you're successful, you won, you have cars, you have money, etc., this is just being arrogant. And that's why every single blessing that God gives us, it's a test. It's being tested with something good, because blessings comes with responsibility. We need to use this success, this wealth wisely. We need to give back to people. We need to stay grounded, not to have arrogance. And we need to have a positive impact on the people around us. Being tested with something good, it's a huge blessing. And it's not only applicable to ourselves, maybe it's in a group or to someone else, to the people close to you. Being tested with something good is maybe when you got a new job, when you graduate, when you make money, when you're getting married, but it's also when you're building a family, when you're enjoying your time with your friends, when your parents buy you a new house, a new car, etc. This is being tested with something good. And we always need to remember this ayah in the Quran when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, remember that He promised, if you are thankful, I will give you more. But if you are thankless, my punishment is terrible indeed. When we're being tested with something good, we always need to remember to be thankful, to be grateful. Not just to our parents, not just to our friends, but to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to the provider, to the one who provided you this blessing. Because if you start being arrogant, if you start showing off to people, posting on your story your new car, your money, your job, that you're traveling, that you're eating good, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish you because you're being thankless. You're being arrogant with the blessing that He gave you. And you guys know the famous saying, started from the bottom, now we here. Well, this is not just a saying. It actually means something. That every time we're being tested with something good, we need to remember where we came from. We need to stay connected to our values, to our principles, to our morals. Everything we learned since we were a kid, it applies throughout our whole lives. And there's also a hadith that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, wealth is not in having many possessions, but rather true wealth is feeling sufficiency in the soul. So wealth is not about the money you have, the cars you have, the house you have, the clothes you have, the food you have. Wealth is about the soul. Is your heart clean? Is your soul clean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look at your wealth, rather He looks at the good deeds. What do you do with all this wealth? Do you give back to the poor? Do you give back to the people in need? Do you help your family, your friends? Or are you just using it for yourself? This is being tested with something good. We always need to be grateful for what we have and give back as much as we can. Because every time you're being grateful and every time you give more, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more than you ever imagined. Now, the second test is being tested with something bad. The majority of people view being tested with something bad as a bad thing, but it's actually a good thing because it's a challenge, it's a hardship, it's a new opportunity to grow. When you're being tested with something bad, there's two ways of looking at that. The first way is, of course, being depressed, being sad, losing hope, losing everything, just because this little bad thing happened. The second way is building resilience, building character, showing that you're strong enough to overcome this challenge, showing that you have hope, that you have faith. Because every time something bad happens, we need to maintain positive beliefs to overcome this adversity. When being tested with something bad, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this test to see how we react, to see how we act, how we change ourselves. And like I said before, when being tested with something bad, it's not only to ourselves, it's with everyone around us, with everyone that's impacting our lives. Just for now, for example, the situation in Gaza, in Palestine, in everywhere in the world, these people are facing the real trials and tribulations. These people have the real problems. Compared to our lives, we're living in a blessing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing them the same way He's testing us. It's not only a test for the people in Gaza and Palestine, it's a huge test for us. Do we still have the same iman? Do we still have the same faith? Are we still trying to improve as Muslims, as a community? Are we just looking at the posts in Gaza and Palestine on social media and praying that they get better, but on our side, we don't do anything? We don't donate. We don't help them. We don't do enough to change ourselves so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can change their situation. And one of the best ayahs in the Quran, Allah does not burden any soul with more that it can bear. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never test us with something bad enough that it will kill us. It will deprive us to do anything good in the future. He never burdens any soul with more that it can bear. He will always gives us problems that He knows we can overcome them. He knows we can solve any problems in our lives, any test in our lives. But the only way to do that is having faith and hope, finding any way to have this personal growth in our lives, change as much as we can, and also having a support system around us. Seeking help is not a weakness, it's a strength. Seeking help from families, from friends, from anyone that's close to you, it's not a sign of weakness. People say, yeah, you're weak, you always need help, you always need that. No, it's a sign of strength. Just like every time we're weak, we're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for strength. That's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of faith, a sign of hope. When we're struggling, we always need help. Sometimes we can't overcome this problem on our own. So being tested with something bad, just remember to always have positive beliefs and a positive support system. Now, the last test is being tested with patience and perseverance. And honestly, for me, this is the biggest test that everyone will face in life. Not the test of something good and not the test of something bad, because this is a mix of both. Being tested with patience and perseverance, because everything in life, everything requires long-term commitment. Everything requires endurance over time. Patience, perseverance. Patience equals light because it illuminates the path moving forward even in times of darkness. Patience can be when you're being tested with something bad or when you're being tested with something good. So, for example, when being tested with school or work, you always work hard, you're always perseverant, you're always determined to do something good, to get better at school, at work. Well, the next step is what? It's patience. You need to be patient for the results because results don't come right away. Results come when you work hard, when you're being patient. Then you will see the results. You will see the rewards waiting for you. And when you're being tested with something bad, patience is also key. Yes, you have faith, you have hope, you have strength, you're asking for help from your family, from friends, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's the next step? The next step is patience. You need to be patient in everything you do in life. If you're going in the right direction, you also need to have patience for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide you in the right direction. Because being tested with patience and perseverance is also a test of faith, of uncertainty. We need to focus on the bigger picture ahead of us rather than getting discouraged by a lack of clarity or small challenges that come in our way. That's a test of faith, of patience. And when I say being tested with perseverance, the way to overcome that is with consistent actions. Because small, consistent actions is the momentum to build success. Success is nothing without failure. They both go together. Failure is not the opposite of success, it comes with it. Failure is step one, success is step two. But between these steps, you always need to have these small, consistent actions, these small habits that improves you towards the success. So being tested with patience and perseverance, it means having faith, being patient, being determined, being consistent, and being committed in everything you do. So these are the three tests that everyone will get in life. The first one is being tested with something good. Any little good thing that happens to you, be grateful with it. Don't be arrogant. Don't go showing off to people. Be grateful, be thankful, and give back as much as you can to receive more than you did before. Second test is being tested with something bad. When you're feeling down, when anything bad happens to you or to the people around you, you need to have this support towards your family, towards your friends, and you need to have this faith, this hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be resilient with yourself. Build this character. Build this new character that you will be proud of. The last test was with patience and perseverance. Stop rushing everything in your life. Be patient and start persevering. Go with the flow and let Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do all the work. Let the provider provide you with everything else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you liked it, don't forget to like, follow, and share. And I'll see you next week on the Faithful Path. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
نفسي بنور من فؤادي